In our rapidly evolving world, students and teachers need more than just pen and paper to be prepared for the future. They need modern tools that are accessible to a diverse group of students that will actually increase engagement and augment their educational journey. PocketLab's mission is to equip educators with the resources you need to make teaching easier and learning more engaging and fun for your students. At PocketLab, we have developed a number of wireless, easy-to-use multifunction sensors that turn learning into an adventure for your students.
Students are able to get instantaneous data, so we're not spending all of our time trying to make the data happen. They're able to do more exploration as a result. We were able to get through things really quickly because the data collection was so seamless. And that gives us so much more time to sit and really look at the data, figure out what are we seeing, what can we learn from this. So many different things are incorporated into one tool.
PocketLab sensors and the accompanying app are designed to save you time and make teaching fun. There's a PocketLab for just about every science topic you teach. Our most popular PocketLab is Voyager. Voyager is a versatile sensor powerhouse packed into a tiny device. It is compact, weighs less than an ounce, and is packed with over 12 functions like motion, light intensity, weather phenomena, and more.
Being able to take a Nerf ball, cut it in half, slap the PocketLab inside of it, rubber band it together, and then kick it and videotape it was extremely powerful.
PocketLab Air is a climate science sensor that can help your students save the planet. Seeing a visual representation of the air in their community increases their understanding and their desire to affect change. PocketLab G-Force is used to learn about Newton's laws, crash cushions, roller coasters, and more. No more need for stopwatches and photo gates or complicated video software. But we all know that cool classroom tools like this usually come with complicated setup plus more work for the teacher. That's why we developed PocketLab Notebook and filled it with hundreds of ready-to-use lessons that require almost no prep. When you and your students are armed with PocketLab sensors, the doorway to limitless educational possibilities opens. PocketLab will ignite their curiosity, foster teamwork, and help them celebrate discovery.
I want to welcome on the Amoeba Sisters. I know you're all excited for this. So Brianna, Sienna, you there?
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
Doing great is great. Everybody here, yeah, you sound great. I guess everybody can hear you great.
It sound okay?
And hey, I just want to say, this is the first time you're doing a in-person or a camera appearance where people can actually see you, right?
We do. Sometimes we go to conferences and things, but it's pretty rare. We don't do that very often. So it's nice to be in our non-amoeba form.
Well, I'm excited. I was, when we first met, I was so excited to work with you, and I'm glad we're working together now. And before you go, though, I'm not going to let you start until I get a question answered from the chat. So I love collective nouns, and like the latest one I learned that was really cool was a tower of giraffes. Isn't that great? So, okay, here's a question for the chat. See if anybody can get this. What is the collective noun for amoebas?
Ooh.
Anybody know? There is one.
Really?
We probably should know that. Thanks for springing us on that.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Oh,
I love some of these answers, though.
I haven't seen it. No,
Wow.
come on, you can do it.
I love that. I see a gaggle, a glob.
Gaggle, no. A glob is close.
A
swarm,
squiggle.
No,
That's good.
No, keep going. I haven't seen it. It's going by pretty fast there.
A swarm.
Do you girls know what it is?
No.
I saw someone put a colony. Could it be? Do they
No.
call it that? No. Okay.
There it is.
That's
I
a really
saw.
good
Wait,
guess.
Kimberly.
I thought,
Kimberly. Oh, wait. Guys, just check. Kimberly King, an ooze of amoebas.
An ooze.
Seriously?
Wow.
Well,
Isn't that
that's
great?
going to be in our next webtoon.
Kimberly, thank you. You got it. Wow. I
have been educated during this seminar.
That was fun.
That's awesome.
An ooze.
I'm going to hand it off to you girls. You're going to, everybody enjoy and write down your questions. We're going to ask as many questions as we can. We're all watching the chat and we're going to prepare the questions. So I'll be back in 40 minutes or so and be ready to answer your questions. By the way, we anticipated there might be a lot of technical questions. If there are, we have a great technical person, Jason from PocketLab is on. So ask could be technical questions about the technology, ask questions about the content, whatever you want. and we'll answer them for you.
Awesome. And I'm seeing former colleagues on the chat, and that just totally makes my day. So thank you all so much. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. And I want to go ahead and first talk about a little bit about our background. My name is Brianna Rapini, or Bree. I go by Bree a lot. And I am from the Houston, Texas area. I've taught in 3 different districts. For total in education has been 12 years before we went full-time Amoeba Sisters. Most of it was is a biology teacher and an AP biology teacher too. So on level in AP biology. I also was a science specialist for a little bit, and a science coordinator for a little bit, and an instructional technology specialist for a little bit. So that's kind of my past work before going full-time for Amoeba Sisters. And how about you, Serena?
Yeah, so my name's Serena.
Oh, I think you just froze. Okay, my sister might have just froze. So as far as my sister, until she pops back, she's in the Dallas area, and as soon as she pops back in, I guess with a little technical difficulty, she'll tell you a little bit about herself. But let me go ahead and I'll talk about kind of how we got started until she's able to come back into the Zoom. So I taught biology, and one of my challenges with biology was really trying to get that lecture content in. Oh, Serena, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? I think you just popped out.
Yeah, sorry about that. There was a big fire in our neighborhood, and so I don't know if that's messing up our internet here. So I'm Serena Peterson. I'm from the Dallas area, and I worked in program evaluation over at Dallas ISD for 4 years before deciding to draw amoebas full time. So I'm the illustrator for our channel. It's really big 180 for my career. I have an economics background, so that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. And I was just telling them about our story. So I was mentioning that part of the challenge I had as a teacher was trying to get my lecture content and trying to present it in a way that was, fast, but also had a great foundation. So I'd have more time for discussions and labs and activities. And I always felt like I had a ton to cover. And it was really a challenge for me. So in the summer, I drove up to my sister's apartment, and she's in the Dallas area, and I told her about that issue.
Yeah, and she was kind of telling me about this issue, which I thought was really interesting. But she also broke into a spontaneous lesson about enzymes, which is just what kind of Bree does, is to have spontaneous science lessons. And she was telling me how enzymes are like Pac-Man, and I thought really exciting because I'm a big video game player, and I had never heard enzymes described like Pac-Man. So I told her, I was like, maybe you should record that lesson and on your phone, and then I'll draw some silly pictures and we'll put it up on YouTube. And maybe that will help some kids that can relate to material like this, like me, but still can get that content easily. So that's what we did. And our first video was not very good, very humble beginnings. I was using MS Paint with a mouse, and it looks like I did. So eventually we learned how to draw, but our first video was like 6 minutes, and we just were having a fun time doing it. It's like a sister bonding project, and Bree was able to use it in her classes a little bit to deliver that information. But eventually I learned how to draw, and Bree learned that she should probably get a microphone. And so we've been doing this since 2013 for 11 years now. And it's become a full-time job, which we never expected, but we really love it. We really appreciate it. We make other things now. This is our YouTube plaque. Usually the kids get a lot more excited about this. We have the 1 million subscriber plaque, but we just kind of have this steady, slow growth. So we're not, a viral sensation, but we love doing this. And that's a little bit about our channel. And I think Bree's going to talk you more about why we think our videos have been successful and how that translates over to our resources.
So one thing about our videos is that they tend to be short. They're usually always under 10 minutes. That's kind of the typical. They have a beginning section where we have just kind of what you would also have in the classroom, like an engage. Sometimes there's a story with it. We explain why the topic matters. And to us, it's really important to mention why it matters, because we don't want students to just think, this is for a test. So we try to talk about, why should you care about mitosis, and why should you care about cellular respiration, and the different things that we teach. And then the last section, we try to talk about why it's relevant to something like a current event. A lot of times we talk about conditions where maybe that particular biological process is affected. And then we just kind of reiterate again why this topic matters. And I think that helps with the significance of that. I also like to do a lot of storytelling, and my sister loves to illustrate lots of storytelling. I wouldn't say the stories are always relatable, because we had kind of an interesting childhood. So I don't know if everyone has had experiences like ours, but they're memorable. And I feel like they're memorable because we get comments about them being memorable, that there's something that, they'll kind of stick in their mind about the content. And they don't always immediately seem to relate to the topic, but they eventually get there. And so I think that is helpful. And so that's kind of what we've got going on. We also like to use a lot of humor. Humor is a big thing for us. We think it makes the topic more approachable. And it's also something that we'll hear comments like saying, oh, I remember when you made this comic about interphase or mitosis, and this helped me remember that mitosis makes identical cells because of this comic. And those kind of things, they mean a lot to us. So they work really well for us. Now, we have used these kind of best practices for us for making resources. And I want to talk a little bit about what we have for free, because we make a lot of free resources, and that's something that will always be important to us. For example, our videos. We have over 90 videos that are biology based, and we have them in a sequence that really works well to teach them in. However, there's many different sequences you can do. It's just a suggested sequence. And these videos, for the most part, are under 10 minutes. There's a few exception ones. If you ever search Amoeba Sisters Biology playlist, you would get those sequences, those different videos. And one thing about them is we think they actually work pretty well in the classroom because they're short. So they're not something that is going to take a lot of your class time. They work well to just kind of give this foundation so you can do all of the amazing things teachers do, the discussions, the labs, activities, all those things that you want to do in your classroom. The Before the Bell biology playlist is kind of new. We have 13 of those right now. We're about to add 2 more. So if you've used this before, they're coming very soon. These are kind of neat. They're right before the bell rings, or they're to be used towards the end of class before the bell. When the students are coming into the class, or when they're kind of packing up their bags and you really want to get every moment of your class time. These are helpful because they have a question. It goes to music. It then has an answer with illustrated explanations. It has a little timer countdown so they know how much time they have. We have a free handout too that goes with this Before the Bell biology playlist, where if you want students to write in what they put and then what the answer is, it can do that. And it also, at the very bottom, it has a little prompt on the free handout that says, if there's anything that was not asked that share it here. And I think that's really important, because sometimes when we're doing stuff, we don't always think of that. Our last thing is our Amoeba Sisters shorts, and those are always under 1 minute. And those are nice as far as like a little extension. We have one on CRISPR and plant hormones and carnivorous plants. If you look up any of those topics, they'll pop right up on Google. Another thing we love are our GIFs, or GIFs, however you prefer to pronounce it. These are biological, just like animations. We really like to use them as models. So we like to say, here's a GIF model, and we really like to challenge students to think of how they could improve it. Because, whenever you have any kind of model, it's never perfect, and there's always a way you can improve it. And I think it really gets students thinking critically about that model. So every one of our GIFs, that's one thing we really love to challenge students to do. Tell us what you think you could do with this particular GIF. We have a GIF review that is made up of slides. It has all these vocabulary words where students narrate the GIF. It's totally free. It works nicely. GIFs work great in Google Slides, and they also work great on websites. They'll animate on their own when they're pasted in there. We also have free recap PDF handouts. These are pretty popular. We have over 45 of them. I think we have 46 now, I want to say. Maybe 47. These particular handouts, they're kind of like a recap of a video. We make them usually based on our more popular videos. And the questions are ones that they should be able to grasp from the video. However, some of them actually, they have to apply it. It depends on the particular recap, but a lot of them have them kind of thinking with a different scenario and they have to apply what they learned. We ended up getting a demand for answer keys. So I'd say about 2 or 3 years after we created these, we started to make answer keys, and they're official answer keys. And we have those up on TPT. They offer convenience, to have that, although they are optional, and the PDF handouts work great with or without them. But what we're really excited to mention today this is one of our first partnerships with PocketLab, and we're really excited. These are our Amoeba Sisters Virtual Checks. And they offer something a little different. They are subscription-based. They are a paid resource. I want to talk about why we really like these resources, why we've gotten really excited about these. First of all, they are completely online, which has some really great benefits with being able to watch for student mastery, being able to kind of record that, and also the fact that they can be edited, which is a great feature. They have a lot of interactivity. Some of them have drag and drop. Some of them have multiple choice, free response, drawing. There's a lot of different features in there that are nice to use with this. Each one focuses on one video. So eventually, we'd like to build it for our entire playlist. So right now, we have 40 of them. And we're adding new ones each month as part of the subscription. And we're also kind of prioritizing, if we release a new video, that one is definitely a priority virtual check to go with it. There are teacher notes for all the free response questions, and the multiple choice and the drag and drop. They have autocorrect features. So let me show you this teacher notes section. And I'll be walking you through a little demo of it in a moment. But this particular scenario question here, it has a little teacher note on the side. They click on that, and then the teacher is able to see the answer that we put in there for free response, which is great for convenience and having that there. It's also great if you're new to the content. And the student side, I just had a little screenshot for that. There's some boxes here where students were to drag the blue words into the box that best fit. And if they had that correct and they hit submit, at the very bottom, you'll see it says nice job. It'll give them that feedback. If they had it incorrect, it'll say try again until they have that correct. This is a multiple select question. And so as you can see, the first response they have is incorrect, but then it has a little red icon with a question mark. If they hover over it, it'll tell them to try again. And then it'll have a green check if they get that right. But I think one of the best things is to be able to kind of walk through this demo. So we want to go ahead and show you kind of a test drive of the demo. And this one is available on the PocketLab website. And Serena, if you're able to send the link, I'm going to go ahead and do share screen so I can kind of walk you through it. But you can also click on the link if you want to follow along with me. And I know I see some questions going up here, and I'll make sure when we get to the Q&A, hopefully we can get to some of these. So let me go ahead and go to the share here. I'm going to just share my screen. Okay. So this is what it looks like in PocketLab Notebook. And if you have PocketLab Notebook, you might already be familiar with this because they have a lot of other resources besides the work that we're just adding on here now. So this is just what the lesson page is. This is a menu where you can actually create a lesson. But there's also the PocketLab library, which has lots of different activities, many that are offered for free there. There's also classes where you can set up your classes. They have a knowledge base that explains how to set up a class on there. And if you have any tech questions, if you've tried that feature, you can definitely ask. We have some tech people from PocketLab on here. And then Amoeba Sisters, if you were a subscriber of Amoeba Sisters, you would see this down here as a little section here. And all the virtual checks, there's just like a whole line of them. And they're actually already in a sequence that we suggest it matches the sequence of our playlist. So it makes it kind of nice. On the very first one, it has kind of like some information, and it also has a recommended sequence here. So it's got the sequence of the 40 that we have right now. And you'll notice that some of them will say new September, new August, but the demo that was shared with you, the link that was shared with you was the one for biomolecules. So I'm going to go into that one right now. So this is the biomolecule one. And if you had clicked on the demo link, you should be able to see this even without any PocketLab account. They all start with kind of a similar thing. They have an introduction that basically mentions what this virtual check is checking for. It is very much based on the video. So these are things that the video specifically goes over. And then it has the video, which is linked, it's embedded from YouTube there. At the very last thing of every virtual check, I'll scroll down. This one has quite a few cards. Each one of these blocks is a card, has thought before leaving and an illustration to end. And so what we do here is we like to put in a comic or an illustration, and we like to either write about how it connects to other parts in biology or why it matters beyond the content. So, or sometimes both. So that's kind of the overall layout. They will always have that beginning and then that end. But what's in between varies depending on what type of virtual check it is. I use these little emojis on the side. If they have a question mark, they are basically like a multiple choice or multiple select. If they have a little thinking face emoji, those are free response. And anything that's either drag and drop or they draw is usually going to have a little pen. It's not as common so far for me to make some with charts because I haven't found those to be quite as applicable to the content yet, although I think when we start getting into some of our content, it'll be really great. This one does have a chart though, and it has a little chart icon. So those are really the main like emojis that I use. That just makes it a little easier to navigate because you can click on any of these and it'll take you to that particular card. So just to kind of show you, this is an example of a multiple select. This is already keyed in there. So when a student is assigned this, it will actually already show them that feedback because it's a multiple choice, multiple select. Anything that I can code in there is already done. But if you'll notice, this one in particular has the little thinking face. This is a free response question. That's not something that would give automatic feedback. So what it has these teacher notes. And if you click on that, it will actually give the answer or a potential answer. Since it's free response, there could be some that vary there. So that's kind of how that looks there. As far as one thing that I really love about this particular feature is in addition to all of this type of interactivity, which I think is really awesome, I love that I have this ability, first of all, to assign at the very top. And again, the knowledge base talks about how you can assign this to your class, but I have an ability to edit the version, and that's really great because I can differentiate it to other students. If there's something I don't like, I can remove it. If there's something I want to add, I can add it. So let me just kind of show you how that looks. So if I click on this edit version, it will ask me to name a new version. So maybe I want to title this biomolecules version 2. So let's do V2, and I'll do create a new version. So what it does is it creates an identical copy, and I have the ability now that I can edit it. And I have the ability now to delete things. Like, let's say I don't like this multiple choice question. I can click this. I can delete it if I want to. I also can add in more answer choices if I want to make it more challenging. I have those different kind of options. What's really nice, though, is that when I'm doing all this editing, it will always save the original one, which is the primary version. So the Amoeba Sisters version will always be there. I can always go back to it if I prefer. I can assign the original, or I can always click that drop down. I can go back to this new one that I'm editing, and I can assign this new one if I prefer. And I just, that's just a feature that we've never had with our resources. So I think that is really cool. I also want to show you just one other thing. So you see these teacher notes here for any of the free response. This is one where they have to draw something. So that's an open-ended question. That's why it will have that. But I wanted to show you kind of like on the back end for the multiple choice, I mentioned that we already key in all the multiple choice, multiple select, and drag and drop. Those are already keyed. So if you're curious as the teacher and you want to see, I want to know what did the Amoeba Sisters key this is the full screen button. You can make any card full screen. It'll say open slide. And so when you open this as a complete slide, you'll see it just large. But there is a card setting button, and this is where I've gone in and actually added it, all the different question answer choices. So here I actually have the answer. It says correct answer, and this is where I actually keyed it. So if you ever want to see that in the back end, if you're ever wondering, well, I want to know what you coded the multiple choice, you can change that, you can edit that. That's where it is. It's just in that full screen mode. So that's just kind of a brief little tour of these virtual checks. We're really excited to keep on adding. I ultimately want to have all of the playlist represented, or at least a large portion. There may be a few that will kind of there'll need to be some type of resource that it'll be a little bit different. For example, a really long review video. If any of you have used our stroll through the playlist video, that one's long. That one's like over 40 minutes. So that one would probably be a different kind of resource. But for the most part, we want to try to get as many of our biology playlist videos done as possible, because I think it's a great tool. I ideally think these work great in class as a way that you can see students demonstrate their mastery, and then they can get right into those discussions, labs, and activities. So we'd love to open it up for a Q&A. I'm going to stop the share now. And Serena, I see you are back. Or are you always there? I didn't know if you closed your screen.
I was always here.
Oh, okay. I thought
was
you
going to
did
turn
close
off
it.
my camera, but I couldn't find a good way to be like, goodbye. Especially after my Wi-Fi crashed. I was like, I'm going to make her panic.
Yes. And we do have...
I've been trying to answer questions the best I can. I know some links are having problems. Hopefully we can work with PocketLab to send those out, especially the ones to the slides. Bree is our Google Drive master, so we will find a way to get that link working for you guys.
Awesome, awesome. One thing that I do want to mention, just kind of the last thing, is that PocketLab, in addition to having a subscription base for this, which is a yearly subscription, they also have a bundle right now with our book. And our book, just like the virtual checks, are all designed based on the video. So we get a lot of questions like, is the book, is it meant to work with the virtual checks? And what I like to always answer is they're really all meant to work with the videos. They're based on the videos, they complement the videos. So whenever we make anything, it's really supposed to build off of those videos. And that's one reason why, since they both do that, we think they work great together. We do have on our book page, there is a link that has like an alignment of each chapter of the book and which virtual checks we think go great with that particular chapter, and which videos go great with that particular chapter, and any of our free resources, which free resources we think go good with the chapters.
You guys, there's a million questions. By the way, I forgot to mention up front, because it was not in my show notes. I just read what's on the teleprompter. I'm not that complicated. And we have 10 of these that are signed. And there's going to be 10 lucky people who've attended here that we're going to draw at random. So we want a signed copy of the book. That's pretty nice. So it's a good reason to be here. Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
A lot of there's a gazillion questions here. I'll help you guys, because we're curating them on a list here. We'll try to get through all of them. We have plenty of time, actually, so we could probably get to most of them. Okay. So let me get some of the general ones, because you guys probably saw these and these were coming. And here's a question from Kayla Brault. Ever consider making chemistry or physics? And I would or other science lessons. I would add Abby Kerniak asked, have you ever thought of expanding out of biology? So you guys knew this was coming, right? So when are you doing what's next? Chemistry?
So we have really, we keep saying that we want to move into chemistry. It's been something that actually it's come up, I think 2 years ago is when we were really thinking we would move to that. But then the book came and kind of slowed us a little down. Biology, there's still so much that I feel like we still haven't covered. So I really would love to move into chemistry. I think it would require us to expand. We are an unusual channel, because usually at this point we might have like a team, and we really don't. It is just us two, other than like having like a CPA and a legal contact and things like that. It is really just us two. So we would definitely have to expand. I do think chemistry would be a really wise choice. We also have had a lot of people ask about college level, because they are using these videos in introductory college courses. They're very, a lot of these concepts, you cover them again in college. And so it's nice to have this general kind of look before you go into more depth. So we're also really interested in that too. So the short answer is that we would love to, we have to see about expanding to do that, which we have never done before. And that will be kind of the mystery.
Look, are you seeing the suggestions in chat? I mean, you guys are.
I'm so bad at like seeing all those screens. That's why I was like, Serena, are you still there? Okay. I'm really bad.
There was everything.
I see microbiology too. And yeah, in middle school.
I'm like torn between paying attention to my sister and reading y'all's hilarious comments.
Y'all are awesome.
So
Yeah,
a couple subscription things. So we're waiting for those new books. So Amy Kemper is asking how many lessons are included in the subscriptions. There's a couple of subscription questions, so I'll try to put those together. Thank you, Amy, for the question.
So for Amoeba Sisters, there's the 40 virtual checks. Now, is she also asking about like how many free things that PocketLab has?
No, I think the way I understood your question, like how many Amoeba Sisters knowledge checks are there? And there's 40 right now, right?
Yes, there are 40. We are planning to add more every month. We do have a form on our website that actually we're trying to prioritize. So if you have some that, if you're a subscriber and you're like, I really wish you would make one on, what's one we don't have, like like the circulatory system. We don't have a virtual check on that yet. If that's something that you know is coming up and you'd really like us to prioritize that, we would love to have like a list of that. We tried to prioritize based on what we know is very common among many standards, kind of like that overlap globally, as well as our popular videos, and any video that is new, that is one that we prioritize. So we have our newest video that's going to come out, and it was going to come out Sunday night, but I found a lot of problems with it. With Serena's not happy because I find all the issues like right before. I find like typos. It's like my eyes just right before it's going to come out. I don't know, but it's going to come out. We're thinking now Monday night. Well, if it goes out Monday night, then that would mean that the virtual check should come out within a few days of that, because we really want any new videos to have that.
So there's a question, Robin Bench. By the way, tell me where you are when you ask a question. Robin, where are you from? I would love to know. How much is the subscription? And then Lori Curley, Lori, where are you from? Is the subscription annual? So right now it's $60. That's an annual subscription. It's for a teacher. And there was another question on here, and I might have to find it, from Kara McQuaid. Is this a teacher subscription or an individual student subscription? So the way it works is for a teacher. You can assign it to your class. I saw a lot of LMS questions there, so I'll try to get to those as well. But it's $60, and it's an annual subscription, and there's going to be more content coming. So that's why I want it to be a subscription. And you guys mentioned something before. I will attest, Brianna was working, she got no summer break. She was doing these knowledge checks all summer, cranking these things out. So these girls work really hard, and they're fantastic. They're really, really good. Okay. Some other questions. This is a great question from Jonathan Bourne. Jonathan, where are you from? Do you receive any grants? Do you ever do any grants for your videos?
That is a great question. No, we do not do any grants. We've not done that. One thing, so we are kind of unusual YouTubers. We do have pre-roll, like we allow YouTube to put the pre-roll ad that comes up and before our video plays, but we don't have any mid-roll ads. You might notice that, the really long videos that have like a ad, we disable those. But the only thing is sometimes grants don't allow any type of monetization at all. We've run into that issue before. And so if we can't sustain ourselves on grants, then we're wary to turn that feature of allowing the pre-roll on. So that is the only thing that we run into with grants. If there was ever a way that we could really exist on grants, though, that would be exciting.
By the way, there's a good question here, Jesse Copertino, and thanks for saying you're from Orlando. I wish we could have met you at the Disney event. That was so much fun. We had a meetup afterwards. It just sold out in 1 hour. It was crazy. We had no idea there were so many fans in Orlando. Is there a school-wide subscription? Yes. Just email us, contact@thepocketlab.com. We do school quotes, and that's where we deal with LMSs like Google and Google Classroom and ClassLink are easy and free. There's no charge to us for doing that. Some of the other LMSs, as you know, they charge a lot of money. So we have to figure out those. So we'll quote those to you. So Jesse, thank you so much for that question. That's a great question. And boy, girls, I see here, where do you get the plushies? How come I don't have a plushie? Can we bundle the plushies?
I saw so many questions.
That'd be
We actually partnered
bundle
with
the plushies
Baja.
with the subscription. I would love to do that.
Oh, that would
You
be
guys, these
neat.
are so cute.
Oh my
They're like
God.
little beanbag ones and they sit up by themselves. We had an original one before that, but we think these are even cuter. So I saw a lot of comments asking about that. So we put the link in there. Svaha's the third party person that we use. They designed them and made them super adorable. So if you're
So,
interested.
you know, I gotta get one. This is great. Yeah, we'll do a plushie bundle. Here's a great question from Caroline Curtis. Caroline, where are you from? What's the best way to incorporate your new book into lessons? So this would be great. Can you kind of expand on how you envision the whole thing being used? Because I think the knowledge checks and the book are pretty consistent, right?
Yes. Well, our knowledge check, but like the virtual checks, they're one per video. So that is a little different than our chapter. So for example, like our ecology chapter in the book, it covers multiple videos. So we highly recommend looking at our website for the book link. I don't know if you could send that one, Serena, but that book link has has like an alignment Google sheet on there that will show kind of which each chapter, how that goes with the virtual checks, how that could go with the videos, how that could go with our free resources. And so it's kind of nice to see that all together. And I think that would kind of show how to pair it. As far as using our book, so it kind of depends. If it's a teacher with a classroom, we really envision this would work great as like a class set where something they could be used as a class set, as a reading activity. They're very, very short chapters. They have a really nice little stumbling block section at the end where it talks about things that we know students get confused about based on the comments we get, and also the experience with teaching. Because as teachers, we find like all the things that students can get confused about. And then it also has little objectives at the end. The objectives at the end of each chapter would make a great activity for students to create something about. So on our website, we actually talk about that. We mention, we have a little drop down on the book page, and it mentions like, how could I use this? And it has some ideas for you. Now, if you're a homeschool teacher, because we do have a lot of homeschool teachers too, it has some ideas in there for you as well. And it also has ideas for students. So if we have any students that are joining us, it has some examples of how you can use this as a study tool.
Great, great. Thank you. Hey, I'm sorry I'm bouncing around here. There's quite a few questions. We're trying to catch them all.
Oh,
And
I appreciate you do that because I have a problem finding all the screens.
I know it's so by the way, I don't know if I mentioned up front, we're just 50 short of 6,000 teachers registered for this. So thank you for that support. That's insane for a webinar. So Brianna and Serena, you guys are you bring your fans here. It's fantastic. I love it. Okay, so Barry is just Barry. Is there a limit to the number of students per teacher? And then I saw another question here that was related. I just lost it. But no, if you get a teacher subscription, you put your whole classroom on it. And I think the question I saw, it just disappeared, and I'm sorry, I can't attribute it. How do you get your students in? There's there are class codes. There's ways you could roster them, and it's probably, I don't think we want to take that time here to show it. We have a knowledge base articles that show you how to do it. It's very easy. It's, if you've used something like Nearpod, you're going to be right at home. It's everybody does it a similar way like that. So that is available. So this is a question I know would be great for you guys. This is from Jackie Engel. Jackie, thanks. Where are you from, Jackie? What's the horizon on topics for future videos? I'm assuming biology topics. And part two, will you be integrating any NGSS topics, which dive a lot deeper into ecology? That's a great question, actually. Thanks, Jackie. That's good.
That is an awesome question. We actually are looking at an ecology video after this, and we would love any feedback if there's something that you really wish we would include in there. We definitely want to look at NGSS and to see those standards, as well as we look at the TEKS a lot too, being in Texas. We also have some other global standards we'll look at besides the states. But one thing, if you notice our ecology videos, a lot of them are older. The illustrations are a little bit older. Serena kind of cringes at them because we need to update
Cringy
those.
is the word we're looking for.
Well, I mean, what I think is really helpful is that we do keep our old videos up. So like you can find our original 2013 enzyme video. And I think it's really cool when students see that because they can see that whenever, everyone starts out as a beginner and you just keep getting better and better and better and better. And you're constantly work in progress and you never reach some kind of perfection. It just never happens, and it's kind of the adventure and journey of it. But anyway, with ecology, yes, some of them are older. And so we are definitely, that is something we're actually looking into right after gene regulation and expression. So that video should hopefully come out Monday. And then ecology is our next topic.
Hey, there's I hope you don't mind some self-indulgence here. There's a PocketLab questions. Somebody asked, and I'm sorry, it just disappeared.
Yes.
The chat's going so fast. Can you connect a PocketLab like a PocketLab Voyager? And the answer is yes. So when Brianna showed you the lesson, just put it into your private edit mode, add a data collection card in it, put whatever you want, and assign it to your students. So you can integrate the data right into these. That's a feature of PocketLab that's available with all the PocketLab content. So have fun, go for it and do it. I think that sounds really good. Let's see. Oh, here's a great one.
We need
Deborah.
to check out whatever Doodle Notes is, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'll have to check it out. There's a drawing canvas
I don't
too.
know what that is, but I'm putting it on my list.
Yeah. Hey, Deborah Hausman mentioned, Deborah, I'm going to guess you're from Texas. Texas TEKs have changed a lot. Any plans to revise existing videos? So what are you guys doing about that?
Yes. So if you are a Texas teacher, we did update our Texas teachers page. It has the new TEKs. Our biomolecule video that we released in 2023 had the new TEK for biology in mind. And that is definitely something we are working on as we update our videos. For example, the gene expression one, especially is based on that. The evolution video also took into account that exact TEK. The brand new one. So you'll kind of see it in videos that we released in 2023. And then going forward, that's definitely something that is on our mind.
And I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around because there's just so many different questions. Kara McQuaid, Kara, second question, it's great. Thanks for really engaging here. What can teachers do to personalize? They're saying PocketLab to make it our own, but you basically, so Brianna, you came up you knew nothing about the notebook software or our sensors before you started. What did you do to kind of like make it your own? Because the knowledge checks are really good. You guys used all the features. You made it like really interactive, really practical for teachers. So what are some tips to kind of make it, if you were back in the classroom and you wanted to make this your own, what would you do?
I really think that I really thought a lot about the recaps that we had. And I kind of thought about, it would have been nice if I could have done this. And this was kind of addressing an issue when I was making the virtual checks, the things that I couldn't do with the PDFs. And I think as a teacher, it's definitely something where you have the ability to make those changes for your class, as far as, if you feel like the multiple choice has too many options, you can narrow it down, or you can make them smaller. If you don't have as much class time, you can chunk them. You could decide that you're going to make 2 different versions, because you saw how easy it was to just do the version. Like you just do the edit and then it makes that new version. And I might make one of them. I might delete a lot of the cards and keep a little chunk, and then have another one and make a little set. And that way I kind of am chunking it so it's not so huge. That might be something that I might decide, especially if I want to have it used in the classroom. I think too, one thing that's really neat, it does have that draw feature. And I think as a teacher, I would add a draw box a lot. I would probably do a draw box, and I would tell the students at the very end, I'd ask them to do some kind of thing that I know is relevant to my classroom. I'd ask them to draw it. Because I think it's really a fun tool, and it's neat because then as the teacher, you see their work on there, and that's it. You can see your whole class and all their work. And I think that's neat.
We have a lot of teachers who, every class is different, right? And every class, there's students who are ahead and bored. There's students that are behind and like struggling. We have teachers who modify stuff all the time for that, and just put in extra things or take things out to kind of customize it for the students, or adapt it. I guess you say adaptive, but I think that's really common to us. We see it all the time, so we're really used to it, and the platform just makes that super easy to do. Hey, Serena, you're getting off too easy here. Okay, so why amoebas? Come on. You're making your sister work too hard.
Have you seen my original drawings? Like, of course we used amoebas. Like, they're amorphous. I'm like, nobody could criticize what they looked like, right? So they're blobby, and that's why we chose them. And then I was like, well, I drew them. Now they need accessories. And what do I have on MS Paint but some stars? And I was like, accessorize. So, because I was like, you gotta be able to tell them apart. And so, between I just chose everything that was available on the MS Toolbar, and that's how they started. So
I did not actually want amoebas.
she did not.
I did not. I wanted.
What did you want to be, Bree?
I wanted to call it the science walrus.
No, you wanted to call it the girl and her walrus.
No, I think
in
it
the
was
science walrus.
Oh yeah, or something like.
No. There were two components there.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe there
So
were. I can't remember. I just remember the walrus.
Science walrus.
I just remember the walrus, and Serena was like,
"Yeah,
I'm not
drawing a walrus on them."
I just love them. I think they are so cool. So, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Kayla's
I don't dislike them.
So Kayla Brawl just asked, Kayla, where are you from? Where did the nicknames come from?
That's for you too, Serena. Why don't you tell them?
There was a student one day that asked on a video, was like, what's their names? And I was like, that's a good question. And I was like, Pinky and Petunia. So Bree is now upset because we have to stick with those names forever because I just started using them and she didn't really have much to say. But you know what? They kind of grow on you. I just feel like we've eased into our names. But yeah, that was my spontaneity that got us into that.
And pink pickle. Is not my favorite color either.
It's not your favorite. It used to be. No. It used to be your favorite color.
I don't remember that. I just remember
orange or something.
Yeah, it's orange. Yeah. It's orange.
Well, okay. Purple's not mine. I mean, purple's fine, but yeah.
Anybody else in the chat here have siblings? They love to argue with this.
we have a really good time together. They always say, you gotta be careful working with your family, but we're really close. And yeah, it's been a really good 11 years.
Yeah. When we're mad at each other, we can tell each other and we don't have to use corporate speech. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd like to sit in on your board meetings. Is your era that?
Our board meeting. Usually our board meetings is I call Bree on my way to Starbucks and I'm like, hey, how's your day going? We should probably talk to another human for a little bit. So
well, that's true. We're
both two very introverted people.
It's it's really interesting because, sorry, I'm getting into story mode here because we're having fun, but when we started Science is Cool, we had no time to think about it. And this was in the pandemic and conferences were canceled. And we just said, okay, let's do something. And we literally in 1 hour in a meeting came up with the idea. And it was like, I think about like 10 days before our first event, we just went for it. And just, Cliff, PocketLab co-founder, he and I talk every day about stuff. And we're convinced that had we had time to think about it, we would have talked ourselves out of it. So wow. I think it's really a valuable lesson. Sometimes you just got to go with it, right?
That's really true.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, especially to be a YouTuber, you need a healthy dose of delusion to get you through the first part. And then you just need to be persistent. So I see a lot of questions about ELL and
please go
translations
ahead.
And whether Spanish support will be. And I know Bree's really very focused on making sure that our videos are accessible to other languages. So Bree, I thought you might want to touch on that. And then maybe Dave might have some insight into PocketLab specifically.
Yes. So I am really trying to make a lot of our videos into different languages. I use a tool that's part of YouTube that it dubs them in different languages, and the voice is becoming more emotive. So I'm really excited about that. We have Spanish and Portuguese. However, we have not yet made resources in Spanish or Portuguese or other languages. So far we have Spanish, Portuguese, and we also have a Hindi channel as well. That may be something that we can look into in the future. I don't know that might be something I'd have to chat with Dave about in the future for PocketLab. At this time, I don't have, just like we don't have it yet for our handouts either. That isn't something that I have on my plan at the moment, but it is something that I think would be really awesome. And I agree that'd be cool to have.
Would love to. That is a great idea. Would love to work on that. That sounds like fun, right?
We'd
Sounds
probably
like
need to find translators or something. The only thing is because our YouTube videos uses a dubbing kind of thing, but we'd have to make sure that the handouts translate well and the virtual checks translate well. Sometimes with biology terms that can be complex, so it'd probably be hiring someone that could do that or something along those lines. But that'd definitely be a discussion for the future.
Okay, doke. Great. So there's a gazillion. I'm trying my best to get to these. We're so many questions. We're having a hard time getting to me. Some super quick ones. Michelle, Mackie, you're saying, are you going to be at CAST? Yes, we're going to be at CAST. If you're a Texan, San Antonio, November, we're going to be there. The Amoeba Sisters are going to be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. So come and hang out. We'll look for that. Okay, so we're just going to do some lightning round questions. You have so many, and I don't want to not answer this. So this is a really nice one. Alexis Webb. I don't know, Alexis, where are you from? What advice would you give a beginning biology teacher? I think it's kind of a cool question.
Sorry, say that one more time.
What advice would you give a beginning biology teacher in their first year? Because you went through that, right?
Yes. So sometimes I wish I could do it again. I think that I kind of became my job, and I really wish I had had better boundaries when I first started. And I really think it is important to have that and to recognize that, you're going to get better every year. So to not be too hard on yourself, because you got so many years to improve, and you don't want to just treat yourself so poorly when things go wrong, because really those kind of moments are what make you a better teacher. So that would be the one thing I wish I could go back and tell myself. And I would also try to do a lot more discussions. I think that's a lot of what students remember. They don't take an intense amount of workload on the teacher because it kind of gives the students the ability to talk about the content. And it can be really awkward when you first try it, because sometimes it's like crickets and you're like, everyone's just kind of sitting there, and like it takes a while. But it is something, if you can build in letting students talk about the content or giving discussion prompts, I think I would have done a lot more of that starting out.
That's great. That's really great advice. Hey, this is a really good question. I like this this is from Kelly McCarthy. And Kelly, where are you from? I'd love to know. How long does it usually take to teach one of your lessons? So had you thought about the class time for these lessons that you created?
Yes. So as far as the virtual checks, so first of all, it depends if students are going to watch the whole video or if they're going to skip around, because that is something that I'm aware that can happen when you give students a YouTube video. Even if it's short and under 10 minutes, that sometimes they'll skip around, and that does matter. So if you're playing the video for your class and then you have them do the questions themselves, it does depend on the virtual check. Like, for example, that biomolecule one, I would estimate 20 minutes for that. However, it really does depend on your class. It's something that if it's taken too long, I would shorten it, because there are some things that we tend to be a little bit redundant. We do that in our videos, and it's really just because we're reinforcing a lot. So it can be something, it can be shortened if you need it to be. Some of the virtual checks might be a little bit lengthier, and some may be a little shorter. For example, we have one on the scientific theories. That video never had a resource, and now it does as a virtual check. And that one's very short, but the video also is very short. So it will vary a lot. A lot of it depends on whether you show the video or not first. And then once they're on it, I would average somewhere around 15, 20 minutes.
That's definitely perfect for classroom, right?
Yes.
Perfect length. Okay, great. Some other questions. So I'll take one here from Carolyn Knapp. Carolyn, thanks. Can you explain PocketLab a bit more? Does one need equipment? So PocketLab, we make the PocketLab Notebook software that Brianna and Serena are using to deploy the knowledge checks. There's a ton of other stuff in there. There's curriculum that we have in there, but we also have sensors and that are used for hands-on activities in classes. And we have sensors for every subject. So you don't need the sensors if you want to use the knowledge checks. You just subscribe to the Amoeba Sisters subscription. You get that content. As we talked about, it's like an annual subscription. If you want to use the sensors, you can. We sell those, and we have a sensor for everything, for every kind of lab you want to do, and you can actually integrate the data in. So I hope Carolyn that explains it a little bit. So if you just want the content, just use the content. And there was another question that was up earlier, and I'm forgetting who it's from. They're asking, are these knowledge checks only in PocketLab Notebook? And that's correct. So girls, the stuff you wrote is just in Notebook. It's not posted anywhere else.
That's correct. And they are different from the recaps. There's going to be some similarities because they cover the exact same videos. But they are different because they have different activities with them. They have different multiple choice things. I will say that they have less type of application. They're more of like an formative assessment on the video. Whereas I think the PDFs tend to lean a little bit more like really open-ended. They have scenarios and kind of things. There's less of that on the virtual checks, but I think that that's good because we've been getting some feedback that people really are interested in something that just assesses the video itself. And that's what these can do.
Great. Hey, there's one question here I knew would come up. We knew it would come up. Let's just talk about it. Somebody asked, and I'm sorry, I forget who asked because it's way up in the chat. Can you print these out? Actually, yes, there is a print function. You can print them out. This is copyright material. I just want to let people know that, the Amoeba Sisters work really hard on it. It's like, don't photocopy a textbook, but if you need to print out for your classroom, yes, you can print it out, right? It's something we enabled, and the printouts are really nice. So definitely take advantage of them. But for your class, right? If you have a subscription.
Yes. And some of the interactivity, since it is a virtual resource, some of that will not, it's not going to function like the virtual one would. However, they do look nice. Yeah. When they print.
There is a couple questions here about, assessments, right? They're really kind of formative assessments. And there's some auto grading features and stuff like that. It's probably beyond the scope of what we could do today, but we have knowledge base articles. And, you can always reach out to us if you have questions on how to use that. So we're always happy to do that. But there is functionality to do that. This is a great question. So Megan Schwab, Megan, where are you from? I'd love to know. What does the student see? This is a great question. I'm glad we wanted to talk about this and we didn't. So how would you guys answer that?
So we had one slide that kind of showed just like how it looks like on the student side. The student side, it's very similar to the teacher side, except that it's not going to have any edit feature. Everything's kind of locked in there, and they're answering in the cards directly, and then they hit submit on each one. I think in the knowledge base, it has a little bit more info about that. And it might be possible too to have some kind of workshops to see that kind of view, because it's kind of like you have to log in as a student to look at that.
They're very similar. I mean, the point is that you kind of know what the students are going to see, right? So it's not like there's a total change between them.
We do test on the student side, just to mention. It's real easy to make a little student account, and so we've been testing every one of them on that, because you always want to make sure, if there's something not translating over very well, but
send
yourself
yourself a class code.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the teacher does have the
and
ability to do that. They can make a student account and test it, which I think is nice.
We do that too. Sometimes when we do demos, we'll do open two windows and show side by side. But it's really, really, really similar. It's basically the teacher notes are on the teacher side. So there's a Christine Achinger. I think we answered this before, but do you have a list of all the videos? So there is a list of all the videos that's available. That's in the the content. Do we have that? You have that on your website too, though. What videos?
Yes. If you go to our page that's about the PocketLab Virtual Checks, and Serena, I don't know if you could send that link for me. It has a drop down. It has list all the topics, and it will have like a list of all the 40 topics, so you can see what's there. It does link directly to our playlist, so it's titled the same as the playlist. So that's good to be able to see, like, is this something that's going to work well? Are these the type of virtual checks that I would be interested in? So it'll be listed there. And then we have that form where if there's some that you're really wishing we had, please request them, because that helps me kind of prioritize, okay, I need to make these first and then move on to a different one.
Jennifer Knowlton, thanks for this question. It's a great question. Does this subscription include the Unlecture series? I think you mean Unconferences, or a Science School Unconferences. They're all free. They're on our website. You can go get that content. We are looking at a way to integrate it more closely with Notebook, so it's right there for you. But by all means, go and enjoy the content. We can put some, if you just go to the PocketLab website, it's under one of the drop-down menus, so you're welcome.
And just to mention, we do have an unlectured series. So if they're meeting the unlectured series, we have that, unfortunately, is more of a like an alternative way to lecture. And that, unfortunately, is only on TPT at this time. I don't know if they were meaning that, if they said unlectured. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just again, I don't know, but if they mean unconference, that's
okay.
different. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure what it was. Okay, so thanks, because I'd never heard that before.
It's an alternative to lecture. Yeah, we have that on TPT, but it's a different kind of thing. It's more of like a different way to lecture. It's like a different kind of thing. It's not like an assessment sort of thing.
Carolyn Knapp is asking, are the sensors similar to vernier sensors? So I'm the PocketLab CEO. Of course, I'm going to say they're way better, obviously. So thanks for the question. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a gazillion questions here. We need to wrap soon, but we still have like more than 1,000 teachers on.
Wow.
Is there any last things you guys want to get out? This is amazing. I think the questions would never end. We could probably go another hour.
Well, we just really appreciate y'all joining us, and we really appreciate the comments and the feedback we get. It helps us get better as creators, and we absolutely love this job. We love making our videos, and we really love being able to make things that make them useful, and we're very appreciative of that. And I think that that's just, please keep sending us feedback, because that just helps us so much. Serena, how about you?
Yeah, and we really appreciate y'all for being in the classroom. I know Bree misses it so much in a lot of ways, and we just really appreciate the difference you guys make. We get so many emails from students saying, my teacher is so amazing. Can you write a note for her? Like, there's so many students just pouring out their love for their teachers. So I know you guys are making a huge impact with a lot of them. So even if it doesn't feel like it every day. So
they love you.
Thank you.
They send us those very often.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of questions we didn't get to. I'm really sorry. Just email us, contact@PocketLab. We'll get them answered for you. We're running out of time here, and it's late at night. Thanks, everybody. And Brianna, Serena, thank you so much. I'm really just honored to be working with you. And this is a lot of fun. We'll have to do this again. Well, if you folks in the chat send me questions, we'll do a podcast. And I would love to keep asking questions, because it was fun.
Yeah, we love to build into those.
And I see a lot of people asking about links. We'll see, maybe PocketLab can help us get some way to email out some links, because I know some of them were moving too fast and some of them seem to be working. So maybe PocketLab can help us with that. And if they can, we will try to get those to you guys. Great.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll post everything. We'll make sure all the links go out to everybody via email. So, oh my God, thank you so many. You're getting a lot of love here. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Thanks for supporting Science is Cool and PocketLab. Thanks for supporting the Amoeba Sisters. And we'll see you at the next event.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good evening. Stay safe if you're in Florida.
Yeah.